Can you tell us a bit about what it's like to begin and end a session, what a client can expect that's kind of fairly standard among the Cuddlist experience?
Yeah, there are a couple of elements that make something a Cuddlist session. The opening agreement, the empowering yourself and your client, and the sticking with the code of conduct. And while we may have gone over some of this on like a conversation before the session starts, when a client gets to me, I welcome them into my home and into my space. I let them know I'm so happy to see them. And I say something like this: let's go over the opening agreement. It helps to frame the whole session. And so this time is for you. I am delighted. It's usually an hour and a half for me. And so I've set a timer to give us a 10-minute warning. And while this time is totally for you to be listened to be held, to be quiet, to be nurtured, I am promising you that I will only do what I'm wholeheartedly happy to do. I will speak up or move if I'm uncomfortable at any time for any reason, including whether like my arm falls asleep or whether I'm uncomfortable with the topic of conversation we've headed towards. Like, I promise that I'll only be doing what I'm wholeheartedly happy to do. And then you, dear client, do you also agree that you will keep an eye on your own comfort and safety, and you will speak up or move if you're uncomfortable at any time for any reason? They usually say yes. We've usually talked about this on the phone ahead of time as well. If they don't say yes, that also gives me really good information, because sometimes people are like, I don't know. I don't actually, like, that's part of why I'm here, is because I'll run past my boundaries. And I'm like, great. Then I'll check in with you a bunch more, and I'll make sure that you're really doing only what you want. Like, we can structure that into the session. It's a great place to learn how to notice what you want and speak up, and notice what you don't want and speak up. So that leads us into the session. I ask them how they would like to begin. And sometimes people say, I don't know, what do you suggest? And I'm like, great. I suggest you notice what your body wants right now. Maybe even close your eyes if you want to, maybe take a deep breath, but just notice, do you want to come closer to me? Do you want to be farther away? Do you want to stand up? We're usually sitting when we're talking about this. Do you want to stay sitting? Do you want to lie down? There's a comfy padded place that we can lie down as well, and just asking them and giving them some options lets them choose something that's not big, because they can walk in and like get deer in the headlights. I don't know, I've never done this before. And it's like, no, it can just be a little choice, one little choice after another. As Madeline, one of the founders of the training, or the creators of the training, says, it's not what you choose, it's choosing that matters. And so particularly within the Cuddlist session, that's what we're helping people to strengthen, is that muscle of choosing, and to notice that they're not stuck with the choice. Because sometimes we hesitate to choose because we're like, well, I said I wanted a glass of water, and now I've got a glass of water, I got to drink the whole thing, even if I don't really like it. It's like, no, you can ask for the glass of water, take one sip, and then be like, I changed my mind. Same thing with cuddling. Hey, I'd like to put my head on your lap and have you play with my hair. Great. Client puts their head on my lap and I'm playing with their hair. Maybe they're like, nope, actually, I feel way too anxious for that right now. I'm going to sit up. Could we hold hands? Right? Like, there's always room to adjust, and nobody's ever stuck with anything. Then I think you asked about the ending as well. So ending a session, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's like a 10-minute warning. My phone has this nice song that it plays. It doesn't go blah, blah, blah. That would be really abrupt. So usually we're in some like lovely, cozy space, and the song switches to the one that I know is the alarm. And I say, okay, we've got 10 minutes. What would you like to do? We can keep doing what we're doing for a few more minutes. We could sit up, we could talk. I could get up and let you stay here in your own warm glow and just kind of feel it. I give some options like that. And then in a couple more minutes, if they've said like, oh, I just want to stay right here, like, then usually when there's like 5 minutes left, I'm like, great, let's go ahead and sit up and start, getting used to gravity again. And just noticing where we are. And I ask them to notice a couple of things they really enjoyed in the session. So can you think of a moment or three that you felt really, really good, really cared for? What was happening with the touch? Where was I? Where were you? What were the sounds? Can you remember what song was playing? What were the smells? Like, to make it multi-sensory so that they can make kind of a memory impression, because the human mind is slippery to pleasure and tends to be sticky to pain. And so usually the Cuddlist sessions are very pleasurable, not sexual, just they feel good. So that's how I'm using the word pleasure. They feel good. And so sometimes you can walk out, and especially because there's like oxytocin, maybe serotonin, maybe dopamine, like all these neat neurochemicals in our brains that can kind of make us feel a little bit high and go like, wow, that was nice. But then tomorrow we're like, I have no idea what happened. So by asking the clients to kind of ground in and notice what the moments were and maybe speak them to me, it helps anchor those positive moments. And I usually get up, maybe have that glass of water, and I encourage them to be careful as they drive home, because there's, like I was just talking about, those chemicals and neurotransmitters, they can make us actually feel fairly high. Just because they come from within our body doesn't mean they're not powerful, or actually quite powerful. So I encourage people maybe to go for a walk, drink some water, certainly drive carefully, give a little more distance. I've got kind of a standard joke that I say, don't cuddle with the other cars. Even people that have been seeing me for years, don't cuddle with the other cars, and they're leaving. We both chuckle, but those kind of ritual things that are familiar give bookends to the session. Did that answer your question?
That wonderfully answered the question. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.